100% I trust the nice thick out of the tub engine assembly lube over wiping some 1030 on that bearing to still be in place. And you can see little tiny bits of metal in a couple of these. We're already on track to make this car feel like it's cared for with fresh fluids here. I should say the fluids it deserves. It's had a rougher life than most Vipers, I would say. See if we find anything weird or catch anything concerning, and then we'll also cut open the oil filter and see if there's anything concerning, hopefully nothing concerning inside. We got a good deal on the car, but not that kind of good deal on the car.
Yeah.
And it seems to run really well, so I don't really have concerns here. It's just...
No, it's only going to have issues once you pull everything out of the oil pan. That's how it works.
This is kind of the, not the epitome, but like huge motor. I don't remember. We'll have to look up the specs. I think at this point in time they were rated at 450 horse. Was it 450 or 500? Because originally they were only 400 horsepower, the Vipers. But I think that was Gen 1. But I mean, you got to think an 8-liter engine. So they were making half a horsepower per liter. Talk about under stress. Yeah, you know what I mean? So this is supposed to make 450 horsepower. Driving it, I feel like it makes more, honestly. What do you think? This feels like it makes more. So you would definitely want to do this if you were like, had concerns. But since we just picked up this car, you know, this is a new project, we just kind of want to assess what's going on with it. Now, we could have sent out the oil for oil sampling. We didn't do that. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea, you know, if you were concerned. It seems to run strong. Like, so I'm not super concerned about it, but... watch your fingers because it's pretty sharp from cutting it. So there's a metal clamp that holds the media together. So I'm starting on this end and we're going to cut all the way around to that spot. All right, so what we're going to do, can open that up and you can see little tiny bits of metal in a couple of these. So this is the side that's catching all the dirt right here. But I mean, you can see there's dirt in it. But I'm not seeing anything that's like remotely telling me that the engine's coming apart, just that the filter needed to be changed.
I have a dumb question to ask.
Sure.
Is Lucas Oil, they're like oil additive, is it bad for your motor?
Honestly, I use it on my bus, but that is an old school Detroit 2-stroke diesel. It has like massive clearances. I would not use it on these cars. No. So like, I mean, oils are designed a certain way, you know, to protect your engine in a certain way. And that additive pack is not in every oil for a reason. But I mean, if you got an engine that's on its last legs or whatever, I'm not criticizing people for using it because I actually still use it. Does that make sense? Like, it has a purpose, and certainly not in any kind of like racing or performance sense. But, you know, trying to keep something alive that's, you know, 50 years old, go for it. Every engine builder out there is going to be like, oh! But
can you use, or should you use oil when putting spare rings in, or should you be using the assembly lube? Things like that when you're building.
I would say assembly lube for sure. Because you're going to run a little break-in cycle and change the oil anyways. Assembly lubes have a whole lot more moly and all that kind of stuff that the oils aren't going to have. Like, they're going to stay in place. Because the other thing is I know we think of like projects as like the Corvette. It's like we got that engine and it was in immediately. There are so many more projects that people buy engines for, and the engine winds up sitting around for years before they ever use it. And 100% I trust the nice thick out of the tub engine assembly lube over wiping some 1030 on that bearing to still be in place when that motor is finally actually fired up. You know, there's that aspect. So I'm going to grab a rag. The engine assembly lube doesn't have to be pumped through the engine, so it can be thicker, right? We can't reasonably run engine assembly lube as our oil and expect it to lubricate the engine, especially when things are tight, put in there with the assembly lubes than you are with oil. Now on your cylinder wall, you're not running up an assembly lube on your cylinder wall, you're putting oil on the cylinder wall. Yeah, on your rod and main bearings, probably your camshaft. In my opinion, and I'm not an engine builder, I would say 100% run an assembly lube. Don't just use engine oil. All right, we got our 10 quarts of oil in, we got our new filter, and the engine oil change is done. Next up, we're going to flush, put all new brake fluid in, power steering fluid, transmission, and differential oil. We are already on track to make this car feel like it's cared for with fresh fluids here. I should say the fluids it deserves. It's had a rougher life than most Vipers, I would say. And we're going to give it some decent treatment. It's cold. I mean, it looks like it needs some love, but it's not. You got to remember there's no combustion in this. It does look slightly water saturated. Not bad though. Here, I'm going to do the whole see if it kills me thing. We are that much closer to all the fluids being changed in the Viper.
Awesome.
A new differential oil, new transmission oil, new engine oil and filter, all synthetics obviously. We got AMSOIL in the diff and in the engine. And we got the Royal Purple Synchro Max, which is what RPM was recommending for our other transmission builds. So honestly, we had like a case and a half of it sitting around, so we just used that. There was actually quite a bit of fluid in there. Like I was surprised. I was thinking it was going to be like a little tiny bit, but there's actually a considerable amount in there. Looks like I might have topped that off about perfectly. So, and there's probably maybe not twice that much, but yeah, we're good there. You know, there's definitely a bit more fluid in the system, but it didn't come out black. Like it still had some color to it. So it wasn't terrible. So we're just freshening up that system. So there we go. That's got fresh oil in it now. The next thing we're going to do is clutch and brake fluid. So we are not using the O'Reilly's .3. That is not what we're going to run in the car, but it is fresh fluid that we're going to pump through, and then we're going to add the fluid we want, which is we're going to use a Motul high temp brake fluid, but we're going to push this through until we start seeing clear fluid come out the other end, and then we are going to put the Motul in and bleed it a bit more. Yeah, that was just some gnarliness. Like just in the reservoir that's how bad it was. Like whatever was in there was just gross.
I wonder if that's the first time that's been changed.
It's possible. Definitely first time it's been changed in the past decade. Go ahead and push the clutch down.
Yeah, does it help all that slack in the clutch pedal too? Want me to keep pushing it?
Yeah, a couple times would be great. Yeah, there's no way to get like a hose on there. It just is bleeding all over the place. Okay, push it down and hold it. I'm just gonna bleed it off one more time and then we're gonna be done. Okay, that actually looked pretty clean. Did you see it dripping off that time? So hopefully that's...
But I think it's also because, what did we do? We cleaned out all the gunk so that couldn't cycle through the system.
Correct. Yeah, but I think whatever was in that line, I think one stroke probably pushed it out, so...